Hey, it's Mike Monday here, and this is the second video where I'm showing you how you can tweak a well-known formula used by high achievers in all walks of life and turbocharge your creativity in front of the DAW this year. And in the last video, I revealed to you that you need to make your goals creative. So they need to be challenging, not boring, not too challenging, but just challenging enough to keep you engaged. You need to record them somewhere, write them down, often preferably, and daily is even better, and they must be explicit. In other words, you need to be able to define when you've achieved them and preferably measurable. They also need to be affirmative. So this happens all the time when I ask people what they want. I often get a very long list of all the things they don't want, and people often don't know what they actually do want. Now, defining what you're going to do based on what you don't want often isn't as good, isn't as effective as actually working out what you do want. Partly because you can't ever have achieved or finished or reached the goal of not doing something, because you always might do it in the future. But also because when you think about what you don't want, your brain has to think about that thing you don't want or the action you don't want to take, and then reject or suppress the urge to take that action every time you think about not doing it. So instead of thinking about what you don't want or what you don't want to do, what do you want? What could you do instead of the thing you don't want to do? The next thing your goals need to be is time-based. You need to set a deadline on each of these goals. So instead of saying, I want to do this at some point in the next 6 months, you'd say, I will do this by X date. That gives you a deadline to hit. That is inherently more motivating. I mean, there's a reason that a lot of people find doing remixes for other people a lot easier to complete than doing their own original tracks. Apart from all of the creative things like having parts that they can work with, there's also the factor of an external deadline. So you want to get good at creating internal deadlines for yourself and actually hitting them. Then a creative goal has to be inspiring. Your goal has to be on purpose. Why are you setting this goal? And in what way is this goal getting you closer to your overall purpose? If you don't know what your overall purpose is, well, that's obviously something you have to think about as well. But I found that when I connected what I was doing to the reason I was doing it, I was much more likely to do it. Then a good creative goal needs to be valuable. You've got to care about achieving this goal. If you don't care about achieving it, then it's probably not a goal worth pursuing. And then finally, it needs to be enjoyable. Now, this isn't mentioned in any goal-setting methodology I know of, but for a person working on their own in front of a DAW, a music producer, it is very helpful to think about it being enjoyable for making music, because I found that when I enjoyed myself when I was writing music, I did my best work, don't you? And obviously, this doesn't mean that you have to find all elements of all steps, all actions you need to take in order to achieve the goal enjoyable. But there are ways of doing the tasks that you need to do in order to achieve the goal differently, so that they become more enjoyable, or framing them differently so that they feel more enjoyable. So those are the elements of a creative goal: challenging, recorded, explicit, affirmative, time-based, inspiring, valuable, and enjoyable. If you can create goals which are all of those things, then you will find you are much more likely to hit them. And if you found this useful, but don't really know where to start, take a look at my 4X More Music program. In it, I'll help you define what you want, and you'll learn how to break what you want down into smaller goals which are motivating and enjoyable and, of course, creative. I'll then help and support you over 6 months to achieve them. So there's a link for more info about Forex More Music somewhere on this page, probably below the video. So until next time, onwards and upwards.